Hello, this is Scott Norman in the Automatic Transmission Lab at Pittsburgh State University, and we are on our second series of videos on clutch service. So today we are, looks like we have ourselves a stand-in compressor, so it's a single acting compressor, non-variable displacement, so we call that a coaxial style compressor. And it is a wobble plate inside there. So as far as compressor identification, got another particular unit in which the hub and the pulley are not spinning separately. So sounds like to me the adjustment needs to be taken care of on that and adjusted properly by taking the shim and making it thicker. And so we're going to service it. And so when I take a look at this unit, the first thing I see on it is that on the very front it has some threaded holes. And anytime I see any type of threaded hose on any place really, I'm thinking to myself, oh, that's probably going to need to be pulled off. And so I do happen to have a Chrysler stand-in kit for this, and so it does come with a spanner wrench, which is kind of nice. So the spanner wrench fits in the holes. I've had used universal spanner wrenches before. You adjust these pins in and out, and you have a hole in the very center to be able to put your socket through. So this will work also. But in fact, even this universal tool would probably fit somewhere. I hold my mouth just right and spin it around a couple of times. I may be able to get it wedged in there enough in order to, yeah, see, I got it wedged right there in order to be able to hold it. But hey, we already used this one already, so we're going to try a different tool. We're going to use a spanner wrench. It fits better anyway, so it's nicer. And so we'll go ahead and, that's on tight. I'm going to have to stand up on this one. There we go. So yeah, so I guess students have had this one apart probably before, so they probably put it on good and tight, but that's okay. Okay, and then the next thing we do is to go ahead and pull off this hub. And so since you have those three holes, what they have here is they have this little press kit that they have, in which they have, bring that down a little bit so I don't have to thread the bolts in so far. They have a couple bolts that you're going to slide in there, which makes it easy if you have the special tool. If you don't have the special tool, guys will use hammers and screwdrivers and stuff like that, which really tears it up bad. Because the idea is that you have a clutch failure, maybe the windings are open. You have to remember that your clutch itself, when I start talking about the clutch, what's inside there is a big coil of wire is what it is, and it has a certain amount of resistance in it. And so if the windings get shorted, if the windings go open, your clutch isn't going to operate. So it's a pretty simple component. You know, you have an electrical failure. It wasn't something that was like a bushing or a bearing that went out or anything like that. And so, you know, the clutch itself may be $50, $60, but the compressor could be, you know, hundreds of dollars, you know, and then you have to remove the refrigerant and stuff like that. So if I'm working down on the farm or something like that, I may not want to put a compressor on because I don't have the equipment for it, but putting a clutch on is maybe somewhat easy. And we'll see what happens here when I pull this off. Oh yeah, it's a little tight, but it's coming off, and it's coming off smoothly. And I always say you want to make sure that it comes off smooth. If something is a binding, or you need to put a breaker bar, a pipe on this wrench in order to take it off, then something is wrong. Did you take the bolt out? Is your snap ring still on? But the key is always pull the hub off first. Don't try taking the pulley puller and put it on right away, because there's probably a snap ring in there. And so we'll pull this all the way off. I like to take a look at the surface and, you know, see what the surface looks like on that. That helps tells me a lot. So we'll put that to the side. Look inside here and see what I could see. And I do not see a snap ring. So the key is, if there's no snap ring in this, then I know that, wow, this thing is probably on really, really tight, if there's no snap ring on there. And So on this particular unit with my sanding kit, they have a puller, and the service information talks about using a puller. But I'll get my kit up here, and so what they do is they have a couple pieces of this. To get all my pieces here to the tool. So you have this piece that kind of goes on. Oh, hey, look at that. There's my shim adjustment, which is actually in the right location. So it was in the right location. It just needs to be thicker, that's all. Put that off to the side. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put these guys in here like this. And I put this guy like that. There we go. See, so it creates a little pulling tool. And then, oh, I gotta take this guy right here off. And so we're gonna use this tool. Now the good news is the universal kit that you get, you know, if I was gonna buy one thing, I would buy the universal kit, because that will help out a lot. But it has the same stuff in it. It has that piece there, and it has the bolts in it in order to thread in. So it has all that in there, so that's a pretty good tool to have. I'm going to put this down a little bit lower, and then instead of using the 3 slots, I'm going to use the 2 holes right there for my puller. And so I'm going to, the kit comes with bigger bolts, because this is going to be on a little bit harder. Thread those in more than a few threads, that's for sure. I'm going to drop this down just a little bit. It's a little tight. There it goes. I just wasn't lining up correctly. Don't cross thread. So I'm going to drop it a little bit lower. Get them in. Try to get the bolts even on both sides. They look even from this side to this side, so my puller doesn't. And we'll see what happens here. I didn't see ya. Snap ring. Was there a snap ring in there? I don't know. I don't have my glasses on. So I want to see if this thing's going to come up slowly. And I feel it. It's moving slowly. And it's tight. I'm having a hard time. I mean, I'm pushing on this quite hard. But the key is that it's coming up smoothly. So that's extremely important. Come on. And so again, that's showing you an example of a puller, a special puller for pulling the hub and the pulley. And so there it goes. And it's off. There you go. And so now you can pull the puller off. And you can pull the special tool off. Take a look inside there, and hey, I do have a snap ring in the very bottom of that. I don't know if you guys can see that, but the snap ring then on the very bottom of it is to hold the electromagnetic clutch on. And so I'm going to need my pair of snap ring pliers, and typically the same snap ring pliers I use for all stuff. And what do you pay attention to when you pull snap rings out? You pay attention to the direction. If I take a look at this, you know, this big flat side. So they make it to where it's not symmetrical. You know, there's a difference from one side to another to help you identify which way it goes on it. So I need to put it back down that way. I do see a flat edge on one side, and so I'm gonna put that there so I know where it goes. And then my coil comes up. Looks like I have a little screw I'd have to take off right there in order to get my my winding done. But again, at that point, then I'm ready to put my my new one on. And again, when you get yourself a new clutch assembly, let's see what it comes with. You know, you got yourself, you can tell that's a brand spanking new, hub, nice and shiny and smooth, and this pulley itself has some actually has some clutch material on it, so that's nice, but nice and smooth, and then your electromagnetic clutch there, so your bearing, and sometimes you'll get new snap rings too. So, oh yeah, so you got yourself new snap rings, maybe a washer or an adjustment washer, I'll call that. So that goes right there. So that washer doesn't go under the bolt to hold the hub on. That's your adjustment washer to make sure that you have correct adjustment. And actually, there's two of them on there. So I see 3 of them on there, so that's good. And you got a couple different snap rings and a new nut. And again, this pulley is not really for this particular compressor. It's just kind of giving you an example of what you would expect to see when you order a kit on that. Okay. So then when we go back together again, we put the new clutch on, or the new electromagnet on it, the windings, and make sure that the wiring's in the right direction. And we'll get our snap ring back on. Snap ring back on. And I heard it just pop in. Push it in, make sure it goes in all the way. I still have the big end on the correct side, so I put that in the right way. So now with our, this guy here, put it up there where you guys can see. This guy here needs to be put on, and that's where this tool right here, this my driving tool, which I've used before, comes in with that kit. And I need to, there's 2 ends to it, so you got a big end and a small end, so I want to make sure I'm using the right side, depending upon what I need to do. The key is that you want to tap it on and go in smoothly. Okay, so it went in halfway, so that was nice. And then again, I get a small hammer, not a big hammer, you know, tap it on. Okay, so, and I'm going to turn that around and just make sure it's all the way on. Down a little bit further on that, so it did. Okay, and so what I feel down there, guys, is I do feel a snap ring groove in there. So on this particular unit, this when I took it apart, it didn't have a snap ring on it, and there should be a snap ring right there holding that on. It's just that this pulley wasn't down all the way, which could have been causing our clearance problem. But I would need to order a snap ring for this and put a snap ring in there because now I see the groove. It just wasn't down all the way. Probably what happened last time is a student used this tool, and when they put it on, this inside piece right here bottomed out with the nose of the compressor, and so they didn't know to make sure it goes down all the way. So that's why I kind of spin it around and make sure that that the pulley is down all the way. That's important. And obviously, if you have a brand new compressor, you're going to know, hey, the snap ring's there, and so you're going to know it needs to go back on. So it'll be interesting to see what the clutch clearance is on this now that we have it fixed, because it does have again, put the shim back on. So the key is the shim goes right there on the input shaft. So the shim is helping keep the hub off the off that clutch. There is a big groove there, so there is a pin, so that's easy to identify. I can see that, and so we're going to put that on the right way. So the key's lined up, and really that thing's on not so bad. I'm going to use this. It has a hole in it, so I'm just going to tap it on, keep it on nice and tight. Again, the key is tapping. You're not going very hard. Hey, look at that. I got clearance in there now. How about that? And put the bolt back on, and of course the kit would come with a new bolt for you, and torque that to spec. We're going to use the I don't know, I want to try using this guy right here on it, see if I can find the right spot to put it on. Yep, there it goes. That worked. And of course we would torque that to the right spec on that. And then, you know, I could spin my pulley now, so the pulley's freed up. I could spin the hub on that, and I'm gonna grab a set of feeder gauges so we can see what our clearance actually is on this. So, got the feeder gauge, and We're gonna go for 20 thousandths right away and see where we're at. Ooh, a 20 thousand fits in. Okay, it actually seems like it's more than 20 thousandths. So let's make sure it's not too much. And 26. 26 is gonna be on the upper limit. Ah, 26 is a little, okay, it's tight over there. It's not so tight over here. So I'd want to look up the spec on this and see what it is, because it may be a little bit too, yeah, I got a 30 in there right now, guys. That's probably a little too wide. So I'm going to want to look at, I want to probably take that off and take that shim and put a thinner shim. And so on my kit, you know, I got my kit here. I'd want to go with maybe taking mic out what that shim is, and go at least 10 thousandths thinner than what it currently is, because you know, we know it's not 30, it's going to be somewhere around 20. This is Scott Norman, and if you're looking for more automotive education videos, you can take a look at my Professor Pintane YouTube channel. I'm also on Facebook, and I have a website. Just look for Professor Pintane. Thank you very much. You guys have a good day.